Hello, Mike. Can you hear me? Sorry, I was on mute.
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good. I can. So hi, everybody. Welcome. And I just want to note today, well, it's our first coffee break for the fall that we're starting off. So our SAP Business One tips and tricks. Today, Mike's going to be covering CRM module activities and opportunities. And I just want to point out that we're on a new platform. We're on Zoom now. So, I've just wanted to mention that in case I was missing any buttons or anything.
So if I really screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. So you can, I've got a chat box and everybody's on mute. So feel free to ask any questions. Just a second, I got one here. Okay, everything's good. So use the chat box, and as your questions are asked, I'll unmute you to send this over to Mike with your questions. So it's all yours, Mike.
Thanks, Tracy. All right, so as Tracy mentioned, today we're going to cover activities and opportunities, kind of what SAP calls the CRM module. Should be frozen. There we go. So the agenda today, what is CRM? I'll just discuss what CRM is, how SAP tracks it. Then we'll jump into a demo in SAP Business One. I'll show you a bit about activities and opportunities, a little bit of the reporting around it, and then we'll do more of Q&A at the end. So getting started, what is a CRM? So CRM, plainly stands for customer relationship management, but that is really kind of a nebulous concept. And I think when people think CRM, they get kind of confused. To me, CRM is a specific component in an ERP system, but some people who are more sales focused will work only in a CRM, and to them, they think of CRM and ERP as the exact same thing. So I think ERP has financial stuff, deliveries, inventory tracking, sales, CRM, all integrated and all together, which is what SAP Business One does. CRM generally is going to be a specific spot, where you track leads, where you track activities related to sales. But you could make the argument that the CRM really is your whole ERP system, because it is your whole customer's experience with your business is your whole process. So when you send a packing slip, that is kind of part of the customer's experience. In this case, we're going to break it down into very specifically what CRM is, which is mostly leads, lead generation, lead nurturing, and tracking of, say, quotes and that process through to an order. So that's mostly the frame that I'm going to use today. But you can use CRM to be the whole life cycle of a customer as well. It doesn't have to be just that process. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in relation to the sales cycle in the demo. How does SAP track CRM? So CRM is primarily what's called an opportunity, and then generally along with those opportunities comes activities. So opportunities, what I'm about to demo, it's a form specifically for tracking like an opportunity to a lead or a customer. So it could be from a lead, it could be from a customer, but kind of leading into this demo, you could think of a customer said, hey, I want to buy this piece of equipment from you, or hey, I want to kick off this project with you, or hey, I'm looking for X or Y, right? So they're looking for something, whether it's a new lead, existing customer, and you want to track that opportunity to have some visibility. The activity itself is kind of like a temporal, time-based note. That's all it really does. That kind of links things together so that if certain sales employees are working on, say you have an order desk, or sales employees are covering for another sales employee, you can make notes of where you are. So that's kind of what an activity is. So let's jump in. Should see my SAP now. I make this go away. How do I make this thing go away? Sorry, where can you see this panel at the top?
Yeah, well, I see that you're in SAP.
Okay.
You're logging into SAP.
Okay, cool. Okay, so logging into SAP.
There we go.
So I'll just close this for now. So the CRM module, depending on the version that you're using, this might still be called opportunities. So you're going to have opportunities up here, but in the newer versions, this is 9.3 PL14. It actually is switched to be called CRM. So, people ask, where's the CRM? What's the CRM? It's kind of just a thing that you want to see. So they've renamed the word opportunities to CRM module and made it a little, bulked it out a little bit, let's say. So the CRM is somewhere where, if you have a sales employee, you can just show only that. This thing up here, how do I get rid of this guy? I know there's a way to minimize it, sorry. I don't know where to put this here. This is one of those, hide floating media controls. There we go. Okay. Don't know how to get them back, but they're hidden. I just had to hide my Zoom controls there, kind of new to Zoom. So with the CRM, you have the different activities you'd have primarily for somebody who's in the sales world. So you could, you don't have to show all these, obviously for SAP, you can hide them. You'd limit access specifically for people, but so I have a lot more than I need, but in this demo, we're just going to focus on this module. So we're going to start with an opportunity, and I'm going to go through that and show you kind of like what it is. And I want you to not take it super literally, exactly what I'm saying. I want to show you the capabilities and give you, maybe sparks an idea in your mind how you can use it for your business. This is, the whole thing that's nice about SAP Business One is it's, you can do customization, use these forms for how you want to track things the way you want to track them to get value for your business model. Certain business models, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense to use it. If you're in a high volume retail situation, you don't care really about this. Maybe you care about, a contract you're trying to sign and following that through. But so just keep that in mind. I'm going to speak about it as a very, the standard kind of way that I would think about it. But I want to, kind of inspire you to use it how you want to use it. And we can always scope it for your business. Okay. So having said that, we have sales and purchasing. I'm not going to talk about purchasing opportunities. Again, this can be working out a supply chain deal with a vendor or something like that. I'm not going to worry about that today. So I'm going to talk about the scenario I was kind of referring to in the overview. We're going to do a customer. In this case, it'll be an existing customer, and we're going to kind of use the scenario where they're going to have a quote and an order, and we'll start from there. So you can either find your customer or make a new one. I'm just going to use my regular one. So it gives you the information here, how much they've invoiced. So I can see this is a long-time customer, very valuable. If it was a brand new lead, it could be 0. You can have a partner territory for tracking, sales reps, the owner of the document. So you just basically say, okay, this person has asked a question, but I want to track that this is an incoming opportunity and I don't want to forget about it. So I'm going to say, webinar opportunity. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to just guess, I had a conversation with Mike, with myself. And I think maybe we'll close by the end of September. Okay, so you can put the 30th of September. You could put however many days. You could say it's going to close in 60 days. I'm just going to put the date. So it'll calculate either way. And I'm going to say maybe this deal is worth $1,000. Okay, so you need only those things. So you're basically saying this is for me or Battleship Cobra. And then this is how much the potential amount is, and this is when it potentially could close. So that's really all you need to start, but it allows you to track, hey, this is an opportunity on the table and we don't want to lose it. So you can extend that with all more information here. So I could say level of interest. You can set this for yourself. Let's say warm, pretty confident. And you can say interest range, what they're looking for. So your products, your services, but primarily they're looking for products. You know, perhaps there's an opportunity for services. These can be totally customized. Again, this is just a very generic way just to give you a preview of these forms. Okay, so effectively, this is all you need to do. You know, it could take 10 seconds. So it's not really an onerous process, and you can use that to track. I have this dashboard, which I'm going to preview a little bit more, but I'll go through the rest of these tabs. So general, it says BP channel code, channel name. This could be a referral. This could be, you know, a contractor or an engineer or something that's related to a project you're working on. This could be, you know, some sort of link or lead. Again, referrals is really interesting here. You could say this is a referral code. Maybe a customer referred them and you want to track who's referring customers to you. That's a cool way to use this. But effectively, this is just a list of business partners. Related projects, I'm just going to link this here to a financial project. So you can track this in the same way that you are tracking your financial projects. You can just give it a code and you can say, hey, anything linked to that will link into this opportunity. I want to track maybe I have expenses where I had to fly a salesperson out to actually talk to this customer. So I want to take a look at, you know, sales and cost involved in getting this opportunity. Then I'm going to put some information here. So I just had, you know, kind of just some information to put in there. What is this opportunity about? You know, if somebody else, I like to think, if somebody else were to look at your list of opportunities, you want to keep it simple, but you want to keep it clean so that, you know, a sales manager can come in, say, boom, oh, that's interesting. Here's where they're at with that particular opportunity. I'll come back to stages, but we'll talk about partners. So partners can be, you can rename this, you can rename any of these, you can add fields in here too. So in this case, I'll say a partner, maybe it's some company name, a relationship, in this case would be a subcontractor, and I've linked a related BP, then they will do the sub work. Okay, so you can have this to track. So if, again, somebody's looking at this or you're looking back, oh yeah, who are we going to use as the subcontractor on this? Oh, okay. Who are we going to do the printing with? Who did we, you know, who did I think initially would do the screen printing on this particular thing, or whatever you're thinking of, right? You can link that in there. Competitors. So you could say, oh, you know, who, you know, if you don't mind me asking, who else is, you know, is pitching to you? And you could say, oh, some company, threat level. You're like, feels like they kind of like them, and we're not really in, or, you know, we're in there, but we're not, you know, feels like they might win the deal. You know, obviously that's not kind of positive, but at least it tracks who, what, and when. So you can have the list, you know, these are your common competitors and you see them all the time, and you can track those in there. And even at the end, you can mark if they're won or not. So once we've gone through this process, you actually summarize the opportunity and you can go open, won, lost, and I'll talk about that tab a little bit more. And you can have attachments. So maybe you have a PDF that you send for scoping. Maybe you have, you know, you're evaluating the lead. All those things you can attach different documents to there to track it. So I'm just going to add this. Go back to it. So say the meat and potatoes of this whole opportunity, really, besides the tracking, is the stages. So you can see here that the start date, we have a sales cycle set up here that is basically what I just set up for this webinar. So you can see that typically we're doing a discovery, stage 1. Our closing percentage off of a discovery is about 10%. So for every discovery we do, we close about 10% of them. So we know if we're in discovery, the value of what we have here in the potential amount is, as a weighted average, approximately $100 if we look at the statistical average of all of our opportunities. Okay, so this is how you kind of load a pipeline. And you'll be able to see this grow as you move through your sales cycle. So this can be 100 stages if you want. You know, you could have quote 1, quote 2, quote 3 with the various percentages. And at the end of the day, we can actually change the percentage too. So we have discovery, quote, and order, and I'll show you how you work through those as well. But you can make this exactly how you want for your own sales cycle. You can have only one stage. You can get rid of the stages here. You don't have to use them, but there are some benefits, which I will show you here. So we have discovery, 10%, how much the potential amount was there. And this is nice because it'll track like where you went with this. Did you do a quote? And then the potential amount went dramatically up. And I'll demo that in a second. I want to touch here now on the activities. So activities ties in here. You can click here, and this will actually prompt you to make an activity from this stage. And so it's nice because it'll link directly to that stage. And I'll show you a little bit later, you can report through those stages and see what the kind of situation and scenario was as you were going through per stage. So it's pretty neat. And you can see a temporal list of what happened. So I'm going to say that discovery notes, I had a phone call. You can set the types up here so you can define new types. And this is kind of a tree. So you'd have type general, and then under the type general, we have order confirmed and these things. You could have another type, and then the type underneath it would have its own set of subjects. So you can really quickly say, boom, boom, you just make 2 drop-down selections, and then that'll say what you're doing with it. So this could be, I might not even need to put discovery notes. You could just have sales, type, opportunity, and then subject, discovery. Probably should have done that.
And you know what, Mike, just a point for everybody. It's not just the sales department that uses the activities and opportunities, like even at our place at Forgestic, the accounting division uses the activities just as notes type collection. So, you know, if you've got a big order that came in, but it's going to be spread out on a payment for 4 months, and somebody is asking, hey, how come this thing is like 60 days old? Well, it's because, you know, and so everybody can go into that. So activities collection, just want to mention it's not just sales, you know, that uses it.
Yep, that's a great point. And I'll show a little bit of that too. And I think the most common scenario just for activities is collections. And I actually have a little bit of a demo on that too. So we'll jump into that right next. So yeah, discovery notes, you choose all this stuff. You can put reminders, you can have recurrences, you could say when, where, you know, business partner address. You can include other information here, financial projects, resources. You could put notes from call, stuff here. And so this will always remind you, you go back, it's in a central place. You can link documents, which I'll show that to, and attachments is here. So let's add this. Update. So the neat thing here is you can go opportunities, related activities, and boom, you can see here, notes from call, stuff here. So you see immediately, and you can drill back down into here, view your notes, and anybody who's using SAP can do this. This is not in your Outlook. This is not in a spreadsheet. This is not on your phone. This is in a place that is traceable, trackable, quantifiable, and you can really, you know, set a simple and easy to follow framework for sales employees to, you know, be evaluated on their performance. And I know that, you know, compliance is an issue, and no, you know, stereotypically salespeople don't want to do this. But if you make it something that's part of the process of review and part of your process in the system, it can definitely be achieved. So we want to keep it simple, but we want to capture the points that are critical for your business.
Yeah, Mike, and you know what? Just one point. There's like, I know salespeople don't usually really go into SAP. They've got their own little thing. They've got their Outlook and their documents and whatever. And I just want to point out to anybody that there is a little add-on called Boyum CRM for Outlook, which brings, so if there's an opportunity or an activity that's in SAP, it will show up in your Outlook. So salespeople could just work in their Outlook, and if they change the dates in the activity or the opportunity that's in the Outlook, it will change in SAP. But the sales manager will have access to it all from his dashboards because your stuff's updated, even if it came from your Outlook. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. Did we do a webinar on that?
Yeah, I do have a webinar on Boyum CRM for Outlook. And if anybody wants to see it, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. It's really interesting. It's just basically a bridge between SAP and Outlook. And like I said, salespeople are more into their Outlook than into the system, you know, and it's really nice, frankly.
Yeah, and it's very simple. It's very inexpensive. And it's very
Yeah.
simple to set up. And as you're saying, like as Tracy was saying,
$149.
yeah. And so then the sales employee can work completely in Outlook, and then you get all the benefits of still reporting here. So that's a great point. So yeah, look into BOIM CRM for Outlook. I don't have that actually installed, but I have used it and I've implemented it. It's good. Yeah, so activities, they store a temporal type note. You can see related activities on the opportunity. Oops, what happened here? Go away. This thing, hide floating meeting control. Okay. Oh, okay, that's why. Escape makes it pop up. Sorry, just learning Zoom a little bit here. Okay, so, and as Tracy was saying, not only does it put it on this opportunity, but if somebody comes into the BPMD Business Partner Master Data, you can also view related activities. You are going to see, I put this actually in testing yesterday, but, or actually this morning. And so you'll be able to see everything from all documents. I can link down here to the number. I can see where this activity came from, drill into that activity. It gives you, apparently I use Escape a lot because Escape closes a form. So in the activity, you have all the same information linked to both the opportunity and the business partner, and you can see everything, not just opportunity stuff, but again, collections is a pretty common way that people use these activities. And what I don't like to see is this type of stuff. So you have, I see this all the time with hundreds and hundreds of rows. So you have somebody doing collections where it says January 15th, called customer, December 20th, blah, blah, blah. So this type of stuff, it's useless for reporting. This is useless. There's no way to pull any good information out of this. It's not something that I'm really excited to see. But it is the reality that some people do this stuff. You're much better to do. You can just create an activity right from the BP. If it's a dispute on an invoice, you can put that information in there, and it allows you, the activity is a much better way to do this. And you could even do a small dashboard off of the Business Partner Master Data that allows you to just click through and see the details much quicker. Even if you don't like this view, but this will tell you, collections, you can just drill through here a little bit and see all the details. Another thing that I commonly do, which is not really standard, is, let me just open this sales order. Using B1 Up, this system is just really customized with a lot of B1 Up stuff. Using B1 Up, I add this related activities box to the documents. So I think kind of one of the reasons people don't use activities very much is they're difficult to find. So if, like you're saying with what Tracy's saying about collections, you do put a collections note on an invoice, and then somebody looks at that invoice, they're like, oh, why isn't this paid? The out-of-the-box SAP, you don't know if there's an activity on there. But with this small customization with B1 Up, I can say related activities. Oh, there's a note on this document. This is an order, but you know what I mean? It could be an invoice. Click that. And then, right away, you can see, oh, there's a demo activity. This could be collections or whatever. And then it actually makes those activities much more useful to the user, where, you're not going to go in every invoice, right click, check for activities. Nobody's going to do that. It's kind of useless. But this, if you're like, what is going on with this document, and you say related activities, it will show there. Keep pushing escape because that's how I close these. Okay, so going back to the opportunity, we're seeing the stages. So what we'll do is now we can go add a row, and we're going to say stage. Oh, we're moving to a quote. You can see the quote moves it to 25% likely. And again, you can switch this if you want, but I just have it set up. Most of the time when we get to a quote, we have a pretty good closing rate. And what I'm going to do is sales quote. And I want to make a new one. So it just warns me it's a customization. Then I'm going to add, oops, not the chicken stuff. I'm just going to add these keyboards in there. Make sure the prices are all good, and that's it. Add. Oh, no, I don't. Supersede the part there. No. What's going on? Oh, whoops. Oh, we'll have to add a customer reference. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very official. Update amount and gross profit on the opportunity. Yes. So we can see, oh, well, if they're just going to buy these, the potential amount has actually gone down, but it's more realistic now. Potential amount's 150, weighted amount 3750, 25%, your gross profit percentage, gross profit total. And this all updates directly from that document. So now you have a quote. Perfect. You can just leave this, you can, that's where it is. Customers evaluating the quote. This dashboard is B1 Up custom dashboard, but you can see that I have a quote on there. I can see it's in the stage of quote, and I can see the document in there with some more information. The customer comes back or lead comes back and you're like, oh, they want to order it. So I can jump back into the opportunity. We can also go back, I have to do something about that keybind. So go back into the opportunity, go back to the one we were working on, the webinar opportunity. And now we want to promote that to an order. I want to tag, oh, the project's tagged in there. So now we go copy to sales order. So, great. They want to order this, order these, what is it? Both keyboards, add. Oh, I have to put a delivery date. I'll just say today. Okay, 201-157. So I want to go and I want to say, oh, okay, add a row. Now we're in order. I want to link a sales order. I'm just going to show only the VP's docs. Oops, picked the wrong one. This should be this one. And then we can update. So you can see you've kind of gone through here. You got to the order. It has the realistic information. You have the weighted closing percentage in the stage. And you can track anything. There could be multiple iterations of a quote. There could be multiple quotes. You can even, I've seen people track deliveries and invoices. Like you'll track the opportunity all the way through to completion. They treat it like a project, and that's totally fine. You can, you might even just get to the quote and say, boom, I'm done the quote. The order is a pretty typical way where people have kind of like, that's where they'll finish it. So, once you get to this, I'll say an order, great. The order is placed. As a sales employee, this is 1. So I go to summary, I say it's 1. The winning document here is that sales order, and I'm going to say we won on our technology, right? So conversely, you can say, well, we lost. Oh, we lost on price, whatever. You can track this, and it helps you to do like a Pareto analysis of, say, why you're losing or why you're winning. And you can say, well, hey, why did you choose us? And they're like, oh, you're just you're super nice and chill. You gave us a quote. You weren't too pushy, or whatever you think is a bucket of what you want to use to make a decision on how you manage your business. You can do this, and then you can do the reporting on it. So we'll say this is 1 and update. Okay, so then that's boom, that's finished. So you can kind of walk away, and this becomes kind of a statistic in how you're tracking. And again, you're like, oh, wow, ring the bell, let's say. So the last thing I want to cover here is a bit on reporting. So, again, if a sales employee, say they don't want to do it, and you can see it was removed there because it was 1. So say the sales employees, they do the minimum amount of information that you require. It's not an onerous process. You have time to track it. As much as you're doing all your stuff, somehow you need to be accountable as an employee. So once you get some information in, you can get a lot of information out. So we have from activities overview, you can see, you can filter this for a particular sales employee on a particular type of thing and see how much work is being done, how much is being put out. In the CRM module, this is an interesting report to inactive customers. So you can say, have they placed an order, say from 0101, and you can see a list of customers that haven't ordered anything.
Campaigns are interesting too, Mike. We don't have time to look at it today, but you know, the campaigns, the marketing stuff, you know, is interesting as well.
Yeah, the campaigns, I kind of just skimmed through that. That's its own webinar by itself. I just have a couple more. So stage analysis, I have to choose this. Stage analysis. So you can see here, stage analysis is neat because you can see whether or not you won or lost and your actual percentage based on the stages, and you can actually drill into them. So you could say, is this sales employee always choking at the quote phase? You can figure out what your actual percentages are and adjust those with the stage analysis as you're going with some really good statistics. And the final, well, there's two more reports. This one's a really neat one. You can see what your pipeline looks like. You can hold your mouse over here and you can see quote. Okay, so the quote, 5,000, and then the order. And if there were many more stages, you'd see many more pieces of this popsicle pipeline thing. And you can see maybe you're overloaded in quotes, but you don't have many orders in the process, or maybe, you know, depending on how you're setting this, you can see these. I think this is really useful. You can drill in, see the specific opportunities in that list. And one funny little thing here is this dynamic opportunity analysis. This has been around forever. And you could potentially filter for a year and then actually view how the opportunities are moving through your pipeline and whether or not they're won or lost. So I think this is really kind of funny because you could filter for a sales employee's year, and then you could say, you know, let's watch your year in review. And then you can see a big opportunity. It goes from discovery through to, you know, to quote, and then it will actually go to won or lost if you once it goes through there. See, so you can see here, I can maybe filter this right before, probably we're running out of time here, but
yeah, that's fun too, Mike. And also, like, if a sales manager has dashboards, he could actually on his own dashboard see the opportunities and stuff of his whole, you know, of all of his sales employees pipelines, you know, on his dashboards too.
Yeah, and so my final report here is a custom one that I did. That's in Crystal Reports. So this was kind of before the B1 Up stuff, but this is really just an example of how you can bring together a lot of the information from your pipeline. So you have, you know, total in the pipeline, SOPs 3, activities 17, activities in the last 5 days. You have quotes, what's in the quote, you have the last activity, you know, your predicted closing dates, if you're overdue, if you have orders or anything to them. So this really brings together a lot of stuff. You can drill into viewing the specific stages with their related activities. You can drill into the actual opportunity itself. You can view activities in the last 5 days, and you can see who's been doing what. So again, it really, like, you can build your own system in order to view and get the most out of it, whether it's a simple system or whether it's more complicated, in order to track those depending on what you want to see. So that's kind of it for me.
That one. That's cool.
Yeah, I think we use it for, I don't know if we still use it, but we did use it for Justic. So.
Okay.
So that's about it. A little bit over time, but any questions?
You can use the chat box. Doesn't seem to, I think everybody gets it. I think you're all right. So,
perfect. It's a good demo, I guess.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. Thanks everybody for joining us. And if you do have questions, you can send me an email or, you know, just reach out. I'm free. I take care of all of our in-house customers. And oh, just a second. Can we export the reports? Mike not working. All right. Gotcha. So I have Dennis here was asking, hang on, Dennis, you know what? I'm going to unmute you, allow you to talk. You can ask Mike. There, that should work.
You said Mike not working. Yeah, I mean, you know, as a quick high level, yes, you can export like anything in a tabular, like anything in a table view in SAP, right click, copy table. If you right click and you don't see copy table, you're on maybe an older version and you want to upgrade. But in general, right click, copy table, paste into Excel. That's the best way to do it. If you need more formatting, you can set up Crystal reports to be more friendly to export to Excel. But my question with the export to Excel is why? Like, why bother? So why would you export to Excel when you can let's just discuss this with the pipeline report, or let's run the CRM report in SAP and just talk about it or put it on a screen or something, So I don't have anything against Excel, but sometimes people export it and they want to format it, and it's just like, there's no reason. If you need to include more information from Excel, why not roll it in from those information sources? Why not track your activities properly in SAP? Why do we want to promote a silo of information being Excel? It's not accessible to anybody, really. So that's kind of a bit of a rant there. But
I have another question, Mike, from Pat. He says Mike is not working. He wants us to call us afterwards. Pat, I just unmuted you. Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. In the activity, I'm just wondering if you couldn't clarify the reasons or how a salesperson would use that. And what I mean is, I see in collections, but let's say you've got yourself a list of 50 customers. Are you saying that you go in and you put in 50 pre-dated call, Monday 8, then 8:30, then 9:15, or is there a better way or quicker way, or is that how it's used?
Yeah, and again, it's so you would, you wouldn't say, like, I don't recommend just doing 100 at a time. That I never think that, like, say I have to do timesheets, right? I want to do my timesheets as I'm doing them. I don't want to do, because I'll forget. I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, right? And I mean, nobody does it. It's so busy. So really, if you have a dashboard like this, you can just say, oh, what was I working on, working here, or I visited somebody. The reality is, if somebody's on the road, you're right. You're going to have, you might have to go back to a hotel room, or you have to go home and fill things in. But yeah, the intended purpose is, pop open the opportunity you're working on, pop open the stage, click here. You can just go here.
But Pat, that's another thing, like we were saying earlier, like the sales team, let's say they're on the road, they've got their computers, they're in their Outlook, everything's in their Outlook. If they have Williams CRM for Outlook, their activity would be in their agenda, so all their notes are in there, but you would have it in SAP because it's synchronized.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I understand that part, but let's say now you're going to start, let's say, Mike, and you're going to call these 50 customers. What do? Do you start by entering one by one? Monday will be 8, and then the next one at 8:15, because it gives you a lot of time, right? So whether it be Outlook or not, I understand the tracking aspect, but using it, that's what you do. You're actually setting up a call. So you've got to do that 50 times. You're going to call, I guess it's not for targeting a Excel spreadsheet, so to speak.
Yeah, well, and so, I mean, this brings in the calendar. So I don't see a lot of people doing that. You might schedule everything in Outlook and all that stuff. And like Tracy was saying, you can track it there. But if you do have SAP in front of you, you can literally just pop open, like before you make your call, pop open, stage, boom, look at the notes of where I was, activities. Okay, I'm doing a phone call. You could do subject, just put you could put follow up. Boom, follow up. You don't even, you don't need the details. And then if there's anything, anything you need to know, you just type this as you're going. Don't put it on paper, don't do it twice. And then you can just click add, boom, you're done. So it's like
sent an email, just copy paste into the note, in there, so the sales manager can see them.
Yeah, and then so you come back. So again, it's kind of like what is the minimum amount of information that you need tracked centrally, and then we can kind of help to extrapolate, like, how do you do that? Does it make more sense to use CRM for Outlook? Most of the time, if they are working in Outlook, that would be the way to go. But again, if you focus your evaluation on the opportunity and you say, look, you need to get information in here, whatever you're going to do, whether it's just a simple note from a phone call, whether you even just put just phone call, you don't even have to put like phone call here and then just put the subject and then you put no other details. If there was nothing else from there, just to note, like, when did I last talk to them? You can use it that way too. I have this button here that I added, add phone call. And you could use B1 Up to do quick automation here, where it'll just put like notes for a specific date. And it could be as simple as that, just to record that you did talk to them last, and then we can throw in the dashboard like last activity, and then you could sort it by last activity, just to keep it really simple. So I know there's a lot of scenarios, and the one that gets thrown out at me a lot is the kind of this bulk entry thing. But I think if you do it as you go, it's it's literally 2 seconds. It's literally 2 seconds. So I would kind of say, I know this might not be realistic, but if you're sitting in front of your computer, pop open the opportunity, take a quick look at, so I want to say, like, put enough information in there where it provides value to the sales employee, where there's a reason for them to do this, right? You don't want them to be like Friday at 4:15 and they're like, oh, great, now I got to do this SAP thing. And I have 500 notes, So I would try to say, let's be more proactive about it, provide some value, and a dashboard that will make things easier to visualize. This can be completely changed. This was just a pretty quick one that I threw together in that regard. Does that answer your question? I feel like I'm rambling now. Okay.
Yeah, no.
No, perfect. It does, Pat. It works, like it's just getting used to, because I use them all the time, and it doesn't take time before I do something. I just type it in, but the boss can see them.
Well, we've just started using it, and for opportunities, I don't see an issue with time and the learning curve. It's just not every call. So not every list is an opportunity. You might be doing a clearance list. It may be an opportunity, and it may be just a clearance. And here's the 100 people, when you get time, call them. Now you type in, just think, start date, this date, 100 times, which is not something you want to track. But maybe at the end of the day, if the guy did 100 calls in a week, you might want to track.
Yeah.
You can use, so say you're going from Excel to SAP, you can direct import from Excel to SAP and make either leads or opportunities directly from there too. So if you had say you had a bunch of leads you want to get in, you can use one click to import them all into SAP. And then boom, if you get people to work through, you could just use this as simply as a lead. And then what you could have is you import this, and then as the people are calling, they'll just go next, next, next. And each one, they can either go create activity, create opportunity, or set them to inactive.
That sounds like a better thing. Yep.
Yeah. So that, sometimes the opportunity is too heavy, typically for a volume-based business, like you're saying, hundreds. You want to just keep track of it, whether you've seen them before. All those things too. So you can kind of check, you kind of make a real light. This would be the lightest way that I would say to do the CRM. And then if they are going to become a customer, you just flip them from lead to customer, and you'll have a little bit of bulk in your database. But those leads that you did import are still valuable, again, to know who you've talked to and in the territory who you've already hit. So
okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Good. So does anybody else have any questions? No? All right. Well, I'm going to have this up on our YouTube page probably by the beginning of the week, where we have all our coffee breaks, our tips and tricks sessions. So thanks a lot, Mike. And if you need anything, just give me a shout. And have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Tracy. You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.